Ho floated through the docking tunnel with his 2 travel bags bouncing against the walls. He had been in space for 3 weeks now, and he still was not used to the zero gravity. His stomach felt weird every time he pushed off a wall. Behind him, the transport ship was already preparing to leave. This was his new home now, at least for the next 2 years. Orbital Station Helix 7 looked impressive through the viewing windows. The station was shaped like a giant wheel, slowly spinning to create artificial gravity. Lights blinked along its surface, and Ho could see several docking ports where ships from different worlds were attached. He had seen pictures before, but seeing it in person was different. This was really happening. He was going to work with aliens. The airlock door opened with a hiss. Ho grabbed the handle and pulled himself through. Gravity suddenly pulled at his feet as he crossed into the station's rotating section. He stumbled a bit but caught himself. A woman was waiting for him on the other side, grinning at his clumsy entrance. "Still can't stick the landing, I see," Park said, reaching out to steady him. She had been his friend since their engineering academy days on Earth. When she heard he got assigned to Helix 7, she had sent him 20 messages full of warnings and advice. "The gravity here is lighter than Earth," Ho complained, straightening his jacket. "Takes some getting used to." "Everything here takes getting used to," said. She worked as a station administrator, which meant she dealt with paperwork and schedules. It sounded boring to Ho, but she seemed to enjoy it. "Come on, I'll show you around before you meet your team." They walked through clean white corridors. The station was much bigger than Ho expected. Every few meters, signs appeared in multiple languages, including Korean, English, and several alien scripts he could not read. Other humans passed by occasionally, but most of the people he saw were aliens. Small ones, tall ones, ones with fur, ones with scales, ones that seemed to be made of something like crystal. "You will get used to them," said, noticing him staring. "Most of them are really nice. Some are a bit weird about humans, though." "Weird how?" "They think we are kind of scary," said with a laugh. "They heard stories about Earth, about how we have predators and diseases and whether that can kill you. They call it a death world." Ho frowned. "Earth is not that bad." "To them it is. Wait until you see how they react when you tell them what you eat for breakfast." They reached the residential section where Ho would live. His room was small but clean, with a bed, a desk, and a window showing the stars outside. He dropped his bags and followed to the cafeteria. She bought him something that looked like noodles but tasted like plastic. "The food gets better once you know what to order," she promised. "Avoid anything blue, trust me on that." After eating, took him to the division. This was where Ho would work. The division studied dangerous chemicals from different planets, trying to understand how they worked and how to use them safely. As a chemical systems maintenance engineer, Ho's job was to keep all the equipment working and fix anything that broke. The main lab was huge. Machines hummed and beeped everywhere. Tanks of colored liquids lined the walls, each one labeled with warnings in multiple languages. In the center of the room, a large insect-like alien was examining a computer screen. She had 6 arms, each one moving independently, and her body was covered in something that looked like blue crystal. 2 large compound eyes turned toward them when they entered. "Ah, the new human engineer," the alien said. Her voice came from a translator device attached to her chest. It made her sound slightly robotic. "I am lead scientist of this division. Welcome to Helix 7. Ho bowed slightly, not sure what else to do. "Thank you, I am Ho. I look forward to working with you." His head tilted in what might have been curiosity. "Fascinating. Your species performs greeting rituals involving spinal flexion. I have read about this. Please come in. I will introduce you to the rest of the team." Another alien appeared from behind a large machine. This one looked somewhat like a frog, but much bigger and wearing clothes. His skin was damp and greenish, and he had large eyes that blinked sideways. A badge on his chest said Security Chief. "Human," said his voice nervous. They sent us another human is not enough. Hay said, I am a delight to work with. You ate a pepper last week that made me need medical treatment just from smelling it, said. He turned to Ho. Do you also eat poison? Ho was confused. Poison. He means spicy food, explained. Don't worry about, he worries about everything. I am the security chief, said with dignity. Worrying is my job, especially when humans are involved. He pulled out a data pad and started reading from it. Safety Protocol 1, always wear full protective equipment in chemical storage areas. Protocol 2, never remove your breathing apparatus in contaminated zones. Protocol 3, if you see a red warning light, evacuate immediately. Protocol 4. Interrupted. Perhaps save the full briefing for later. Let us show him the facility first. They gave Ho a tour of the division. Most of it looked similar to labs on Earth, just bigger and more advanced. Explained their current projects. They were studying extreme chemicals, substances so dangerous that only specialized equipment could handle them. Some acids could eat through metal in seconds. Some bases could dissolve organic matter instantly. Some were radioactive enough to be deadly just by being near them. Our most dangerous project is in Storage Bay 4, said as they walked. We are studying dissolution compound X77. It is an acid discovered on a moon with no atmosphere. The acid is so powerful, it can break down almost any material. How do you store something like that? Ho asked. Very carefully, said. In triple reinforced containment tanks, made by humans actually. Your species has excellent engineering for dangerous materials. Ho felt a small bit of pride at that. At least humans were good for something out here. They stopped at a viewing window. Through the thick glass, Ho could see several large tanks in a sealed room. Each tank was covered in warning labels and cooling systems. Robots moved around them on tracks, checking gauges and temperatures. We never enter that room in person, explained. Too dangerous. Even the fumes from X77 can cause cellular breakdown in most species. We use remote systems for everything. Smart, Ho agreed. Suddenly an alarm started blaring. Red lights flashed in the corridor. Grabbed his data pad, his eyes going wide. Containment breach, he said, his voice shaking. Storage Bay 4, minor fracture detected in Tank 7. Moved fast, all 6 arms working different controls. Evacuate the bay, seal all entrances, begin emergency protocols. Ho looked through the window. He could see a small puddle forming under one of the tanks. It was growing slowly, the liquid eating into the floor. How long until it breaches the hull? Asked. Was calculating on his pad. 20 minutes, maybe less. Ho studied the tank carefully. This was going to be his first real job on the station. He just hoped he could handle it, the command center filled with voices. Aliens were shouting in different languages while their translators tried to keep up. Ho stood at the viewing window, watching the acid drip from Tank 7. The puddle was bigger now, spreading across the floor like a living thing. Where it touched the metal, smoke rose up. All personnel evacuate Storage Bay 4, announced through the station speakers. His voice was shaking. This is a Level 5 emergency. Repeat, Level 5 emergency. On the monitors, Ho could see 3 robot drones entering the bay. They rolled toward the leaking tank on small wheels. One drone extended a mechanical arm with a camera. The camera got within 2 meters of the acid before the image started to distort. Then the feed went black. Drone 1 is gone, a technician reported. The fumes destroyed its circuits. The second drone tried a different approach. It stayed farther back and used a long arm to reach toward the tank. But when the arm touched the acid, it started to melt. The metal turned soft like butter, then dripped away. The drone retreated, leaving its arm behind. Drone 2 is damaged, the technician said, withdrawing. Was working at multiple screens at once, all 6 of her arms moving. The fracture is getting worse. The temperature inside the tank is rising. It is expanding the container. "Can we cool it remotely?" asked. "The cooling systems are offline in that section," said. "They were damaged when the fracture occurred." Was packing back and forth, his damp skin getting damper. "We need to evacuate the entire section, seal it off and vent it to space. It is the only way to be sure." "We will lose everything in Storage Bay 4, protested. "Years of research, millions in equipment." "Better than losing the entire station," said. "I am initiating evacuation protocols. Everyone needs to leave this section within 15 minutes. Ho kept looking at the tank. The fracture was small, just a hairline crack near the bottom. The acid was seeping out slowly, not gushing. If someone could get close enough, they could seal it. He had done repairs like this on Earth, though never with anything this dangerous. "What if someone went in to fix it?" he asked. Everyone stopped talking. All eyes turned to him. "That is impossible," said. "The fumes alone would kill any of us within seconds. Our cellular structure cannot withstand that level of acidity." "Your species is particularly vulnerable," added, looking at Ho with what might have been concern. "Human flesh would dissolve even faster than ours. You would die before reaching the tank." "But the crack is small," Ho argued. "If we had the right sealant." "No," said firmly. "I forbid it. We evacuate. That is final." Ho looked at. She knew that expression on his face. She had seen it before, back at the academy, whenever someone told him something was impossible. "Ho," she warned, "do not do anything stupid." But he was already walking toward the equipment room. He grabbed a suit from the rack, the same kind all the aliens wore when working near dangerous chemicals. The suit was thick and heavy, with triple layers of protection and its own air supply. He started putting it on. "What are you doing?" demanded, rushing over. "I specifically said." "I am just going to look," Ho said, sealing the suit. "From the doorway, I need to see it up close to know if it can be fixed." "Looking is how humans get killed," said. "I have read the reports from Earth. Your species has a dangerous curiosity." Ho picked up a container of ceramic sealant. It was designed to work on the hottest, most reactive surfaces. If anything could seal the crack, this could. He clipped it to his belt and walked toward the bay entrance. "I am ordering you to stop," called after him. "You can fire me later," Ho said. He entered the code to override the bay lock. The door opened with a hiss. In the command center, everyone crowded around the monitors. Cameras showed Ho entering Storage Bay 4. The bay was large and cold, filled with tanks and equipment. The air looked slightly hazy from the acid fumes. Ho walked slowly, carefully, toward Tank 7. "His suit will fail in less than 3 minutes in that environment," said quietly. "Maybe 2. Pressed her hands against the glass. "Come on, Ho, just look and get out." Through his suit's helmet, Ho could hear them talking on the comm system, was listing all the ways he was about to die, was describing what the acid would do to his body at a cellular level. He turned down the volume. The puddle was bigger now, almost a meter wide. Ho walked around it, studying the tank. The crack was visible, a thin, dark line near the bottom seam. Acid oozed out drop by drop. The tank's surface felt warm even through his gloves. That was the problem. The heat was making the tank expand, and the expansion was making the crack worse. "I can fix this," he said into his comm, "but I need to cool it down first." "Get out of there," commanded. "That is an order." "The crack is small. The sealant will work if I can just." "No human can survive proximity to X-77, said. "Even with the suit. Please, Ho, come back." Ho looked at the tank again. Then he looked at his gloved hands. An idea formed in his mind. It was probably a stupid idea, would definitely call it stupid, but he needed to know the exact temperature to fix this properly. He walked to the edge of the puddle. In the command center, everyone held their breath. "What is he doing?" whispered. Ho reached down. His fingers touched the suit's glove release. With a click, he pulled his right hand free. His bare hand appeared in front of the cameras. "No," his voice was almost a scream. "Put the glove back on." "Ho, what are you doing?" shouted. Before anyone could stop him, Ho knelt down. He extended his index finger, and he dipped it into the puddle of acid. There was silence, complete, total silence. Every alien in the command center stared at the screens in horror. They were watching a human commit suicide. Ho kept his finger in the acid for 3 seconds, 4, 5. Then he pulled it out and looked at it carefully. His skin was slightly red like a minor sunburn. A bit of the acid dripped off his finger. He wiped it on his pant leg. He said thoughtfully. "About 340 Kelvin, maybe 345. That is the problem. It is too warm. The tank is expanding from the heat." In the command center, fainted. His large frog-like body crumpled to the floor. 2 other aliens rushed to help him. His translator was making strange noises. "Impossible, biological impossibility. How is he? You should be, the acid should have. Human biology does not, this violates. I do not understand." "Just put her face in her hands." "Of course he did that, of course." Ho put his glove back on and pulled out the ceramic sealant. "I am going to seal this now. It should hold if I work fast." He got to work. His hands moved quickly, applying the sealant around the crack. The ceramic material hissed when it touched the acid, but it held. He spread it carefully, making sure to cover every part of the fracture. The acid tried to eat through it, but the sealant hardened faster than the acid could dissolve it. After 10 minutes, the leak stopped. The puddle was still there, slowly eating into the floor, but no more acid was coming out. Ho stood up and checked his work. It looked good. The tank was sealed. "Done," he said into his comm. "The leak is stopped. You will need to replace the tank eventually, but this will hold for now." He walked back to the bay entrance. When the door opened, a medical team was waiting for him. 6 different aliens with scanning equipment and medicine. They swarmed around him, checking his hand, his vital signs, his brain activity. "I am fine," Ho kept saying. "Really, it is not that bad." His right hand was red and slightly swollen. It stung a bit like touching a hot pan, but that was all. The medical team scanned it 3 times, not believing the results. Approached slowly. She looked at Ho like he was something from another universe. "You touched X-77 with your bare hand, and you are alive." "It was not that bad," Ho said. "Honestly, I have had worse burns from cooking." "Cooking?" repeated. "You burn yourself while preparing food, and consider it normal." "Well, accidents happen." His eyes seemed to glow brighter. "I need to study you, your biology, your cellular structure. Would you consent to tissue samples?" "Sure," Ho said with a shrug. Was awake again, being helped by 2 medics. He looked at Ho with an expression that might have been fear or respect or both. "Never," he said slowly, "never tell me what is dangerous again. Humans are insane." The medical bay was busy. Ho sat on an examination table while 3 different doctors examined his hand. One doctor had 6 eyes arranged in a circle around her head. She kept looking at his hand from different angles, making small clicking sounds of confusion. Another doctor, who looked like a floating jellyfish, scanned his hand with a blue light. The third doctor was taking so many notes that his tablet kept running out of memory. "The cellular damage is minimal," the 6-eyed doctor said. Her name was equivalent to minor solar radiation exposure, nothing more. "That is impossible," the jellyfish doctor said. "X-77 has a pH of -3. It should have destroyed the flesh down to the bone within seconds." "Well, it did not," Ho said. He was getting tired of people telling him he should be dead. His hand hurt a bit, but it was nothing serious. He had burned himself worse making fried chicken last month. Entered the medical bay carrying several data pads. She had been running tests on the skin sample Ho gave her. All 6 of her arms were moving, switching between different screens. She looked excited in a way that was probably normal for scientists but seemed weird on a giant insect alien. "I have preliminary results," announced, "and they are fascinating, absolutely fascinating." Everyone in the medical bay stopped what they were doing. Even the patients in other beds sat up to listen. Projected her findings on the wall screen. Images of cells appeared thousands of times. Human skin is remarkably different from other species we have studied. The cellular density is much higher. The proteins are structured in a way that provides exceptional resistance to chemical breakdown. "In simple terms?" asked. She had stayed with Ho the whole time, partly out of friendship and partly because someone needed to explain to his mother why her son was in the alien hospital. "In simple terms, humans have very thick, very tough skin," said. "Literally. Your skin is approximately 3 times thicker than the average galactic species, and it regenerates much faster." Pulled up another image. But it is not just thickness. The pH of human skin is also unusual. Most species have neutral pH around 7. Human skin is acidic between 4 and 5. "We are acidic?" Ho asked. "Your skin is," said, "which gives you natural protection against acids. It is like fighting fire with fire except with chemical bonds. Furthermore, your sweat contains antimicrobial compounds. Your skin literally secretes poison to protect itself." The jellyfish doctor made a sound like wind chimes. It was probably his species' version of surprise. "The human body naturally produces chemical weapons." "Not weapons exactly," said. "Defenses, but from our perspective, yes. Human skin is toxic to many microorganisms." She pulled up more data. "And then there is your internal chemistry. Ho, what is the pH inside your stomach?" Ho shrugged. "I do not know, too, maybe 1. "Between 1.5 and 3.5, said. "Highly acidic. You produce hydrochloric acid in your stomach as part of normal digestion, every single day. This is not unusual for humans. This is normal." The doctors looked at each other. Several of them stepped back from Ho slightly. "You are saying humans contain acid," said slowly, "inside their bodies all the time." "Yes," confirmed. "Not just acid. Humans also produce many substances that would be toxic to other species. Alcohol dehydrogenase enzymes that break down poisons. Capsaicin receptors that allow them to consume plants that evolve to be inedible. A liver that can filter toxins that would kill most galactic species." She turned to Ho. "Did you know that chocolate is poisonous to many Earth species?" "I heard dogs cannot eat it," Ho said. "Humans can eat it because your liver processes theobromine efficiently. Most species cannot. To them, chocolate is a toxin." Eyes seemed to glow brighter. "Humans are not just resistant to dangerous chemicals. You consume them for pleasure." Laughed. "Wait until you tell her about coffee." "Coffee?" asked. "A drink with a stimulant drug called caffeine," explained. "Humans drink it every day. Some people drink 3 or 4 cups. It is very popular on Earth." "You regularly consume stimulant drugs," said. It was not a question. She was just stating facts now, and each fact seemed to surprise her more. "And alcohol," added. "That is a depressant. Humans drink that for fun too." "For fun," repeated. She made several notes. "And the spicy food mentioned." "Capsaicin," said. "It is a chemical that causes pain. Humans eat it because they like the taste. Some people eat very spicy food as a challenge." Was quiet for a moment. "Your species challenges each other to consume pain-causing chemicals for entertainment." "Pretty much," Ho agreed. "Incredible," whispered. "Earth must be a terrifying place." Over the next few days, the news spread through the station. The human who touched became famous. Ho could not walk down a corridor without aliens stopping to stare at him. Some wanted to ask questions. Some wanted to take pictures. Some just wanted to look at his hand, which had healed completely within 48 hours. A week later, representatives from the Galactic Science Council arrived. They wanted to verify what happened. They did not believe the reports. Ho had to explain the incident 3 times to 3 different committees. The head of the verification team was a being named. He looked like a large floating jellyfish made of light. He was apparently very old and very wise, and everyone treated him with great respect. Asked Ho to participate in a controlled experiment. "We must see this with our own eyes," said. His voice sounded like music. "The Galactic Council needs proof before we can revise our understanding of human biology." They set up the experiment in a sealed chamber. Cameras recorded from every angle. Dozens of scientists watched through viewing windows. Ho stood next to a small container of X-77. The acid bubbled slightly, releasing faint fumes. "Whenever you are ready," said. Ho took a breath. He still thought this was a bit silly, but if it helped science, why not? He rolled up his sleeve and placed his hand into the container. The acid was cold and thick, like syrup. It tingled against his skin. He counted to 30 in his head, then pulled his hand out. His skin was red and irritated. Small blisters formed on his palm. It stung quite a bit, but he was fine. The medics rushed forward with treatment gel. Within 2 days, his hand was completely healed again. The scientists were speechless. Floated in place, his light pulsing slowly. Finally, he spoke. "We have underestimated Earth's environment severity," he said. "We classified it as a Category 4 world, dangerous but manageable. I believe we must reclassify it as Category 7, extreme death world." "Death world?" Ho asked. "A world so hostile that species evolving there develop extreme adaptations," explained. "High oxygen levels that would be toxic to most species, intense solar radiation, extreme temperature variations, aggressive microbiology, frequent natural disasters. Your planet kills anything that is not strong enough to survive it." "It is not that bad," Ho protested. "People live there just fine." "Yes," said, "because you evolved there, you adapted, you became strong enough to survive what would kill others. This is the mark of a death world species. You think your environment is normal." Stepped forward. "The Council should classify humans as Type 7 extremophiles. They meet all the criteria: chemical resistance, radiation tolerance, temperature adaptation, injury recovery, toxin processing, pain threshold beyond normal parameters." "I agree," said. "This information will be distributed to all member species. Humans are more durable than previously believed. This will affect many things: labor regulations, safety protocols, medical treatment, insurance policies." "We are going to be very popular for dangerous jobs," muttered. She was right. Within hours of the announcement, Ho's messages exploded. Companies from across the galaxy wanted to hire humans for hazardous work: mining operations in toxic atmospheres, chemical processing in extreme conditions, emergency response in disaster zones. The jobs paid very well because they were too dangerous for other species. One message stood out. It came from Industries, a major corporation that processed rare chemicals. They wanted to hire human workers for their most dangerous facilities. They offered contracts that would make Ho rich. "It sounds suspicious," Ho said, showing the message to. "Read it carefully. The money is real, is a legitimate company, but I do not trust them. They have a bad reputation. They care more about profit than worker safety." "Should I respond?" "Let me handle it," said. "I will do some research first. If humans are going to work in dangerous conditions, we need to make sure we are treated fairly." Back on Earth, Ho's family was reacting to the news. His younger sister Rim sent him a message full of excitement. She thought it was amazing that her brother was famous across the galaxy. His mother sent a different kind of message, mostly consisting of worried questions and demands that he be careful. His old instructor from the academy wanted him to give a lecture to the new students. Ho sat in his room that night looking at his hands. They looked normal to him, just regular hands. He never thought of himself as particularly tough or special. He was just a normal guy from Seoul who liked engineering. But to the rest of the galaxy, he was something else. He was proof that humans were dangerous, that Earth had created something unexpected, that the universe had more surprises than anyone realized. His door chimed, stood outside carrying a data pad. "I am writing a paper on human biology," she said. "I would like your help, to explain things from a human perspective." "Sure," Ho said, "come in." They worked late into the night, asked questions about Earth, about human history, about how people lived. Ho tried to explain that most humans did not think they were special. They just lived their lives. "That is what makes it remarkable," said. "You do not realize how extraordinary you are. To you, surviving is normal. But to us, you are survivors of a world that would destroy us." Ho thought about that. Maybe she was right. Maybe humans were tougher than they realized. Or maybe the galaxy was just softer than he expected. Either way, things were about to get interesting. 3 weeks passed. In that time, Ho became the most famous human in the galaxy. Videos of him dipping his finger in X-77 were shared millions of times across different planets. News programs interviewed him. Scientists wanted samples of his DNA. Children from alien worlds sent him drawings. Most of the drawings showed him as some kind of superhero, which Ho found embarrassing. Life on Helix 7 changed. More humans started arriving at the station. They came from Earth for work opportunities, or from other stations because they heard humans were treated well here. Was busy finding rooms for everyone and setting up schedules. The human population on the station grew from 2 to 15. Ho tried to work normally, but aliens treated him differently now. When he walked into a room, conversation stopped. When he picked up tools, people watched nervously. When he said he was going to fix something dangerous, no one argued anymore. They just stepped back and let him work. "I do not like this," Ho told over lunch one day. They were eating in the human section of the cafeteria, which served actual Earth food now. "People look at me like I am some kind of monster." "You are famous," said, eating her kimchi. "This is what famous feels like. Enjoy it while it lasts." "I just want to do my job." "Then do your job. Ignore everyone else." But ignoring everyone was hard when reporters kept showing up. Had published her paper on human biology, and it became the most read scientific document of the year. The paper was titled Extremophile Characteristics of Homo, a Study in Death World Evolution. It described humans as the toughest species currently known to the Galactic Council. Other scientists challenged the findings. They said study was too small based on only one human. They demanded more tests. The Galactic Science Council agreed. They organized a comprehensive study of human biology, and they wanted volunteers. "They are paying very well," told the small group of humans gathered in the station lounge. "All you need to do is participate in some tests. Medical scans, physical challenges, that sort of thing. Nothing dangerous." "Define nothing dangerous," one of the new humans said. His name was Dong, and he worked in the station's hydroponics bay. "They want to test pain tolerance, chemical resistance, temperature adaptation, and injury recovery," read from the document. "All tests will be conducted under medical supervision with full safety protocols." "So they want to hurt us and see how much we can take," Dong said. "Basically, yes, but safely and for money." 5 humans volunteered, including Ho. The tests lasted a week. Scientists exposed them to various chemicals, from weak acids to strong bases. They tested temperature tolerance by having humans sit in very cold and very hot rooms. They measured pain thresholds using controlled electrical stimulation. They even tested healing by giving the humans small cuts and monitoring how fast they recovered. The results confirmed everything had written. Humans were tougher than any other known species. They could tolerate temperatures that would kill most aliens. Their pain threshold was 3 times higher than average. Their wounds healed twice as fast, and they could resist chemicals that would be deadly to others. Himself came to observe the final tests. He floated in the observation room, his light pulsing thoughtfully. "This changes everything," he said too. "If humans can work in environments we cannot, entire industries will shift. Mining operations in toxic atmospheres, chemical processing on radiation-heavy worlds, emergency response in disaster zones. Humans can go where we cannot." "That is exactly what worries me," said. "I hope humans are treated fairly. I fear some corporations will see them as disposable." "That is why we are creating new regulations," assured her. "Humans may be tough, but they are still people. They deserve protection." But not everyone agreed. Companies saw opportunity. If humans could work in dangerous conditions, they could save money on expensive equipment and safety systems. Job offers flooded in from across the galaxy. Most were legitimate, some were not. Industries was the most persistent. They sent representatives to Helix 7 to meet with the humans directly. The representatives were smooth-talking aliens in expensive suits. They brought contracts promising incredible pay for work in chemical processing facilities. "The conditions are harsh," the lead representative admitted. His name was Vex, and he looked like a snake with arms. "We will not lie about that, but humans can handle what others cannot. We will pay you 10 times what you earn here." "What kind of chemicals?" Ho asked. He was suspicious of anything that sounded too good to be true. "Various industrial acids and bases, some radioactive materials, nothing you cannot handle. We have studied the reports." Was reading through the contract carefully. "This says you can extend work hours without notice, and there is no guarantee of return transport if someone wants to leave." "Standard contract language," Vex said with a smile that showed too many teeth. "We can negotiate." "We will think about it," said firmly. After Vex left, pulled Ho aside. "Do not sign anything with, I did research on them. They have violations on 12 different worlds. Safety violations, worker abuse, environmental damage. They do not care about people." "Then why are they allowed to operate?" "Because they are rich and they know how to work the system," said bitterly. "The Galactic Council tries to regulate them but always finds loopholes." "We should warn the others," Ho said. They held a meeting with all the humans on the station, explained what she learned about industries. Some humans were disappointed because the money was very good. Others were relieved to know the truth. They agreed to reject any offers from and to stick with legitimate companies that respected worker rights. But the job offers kept coming. Good offers from honest companies. A mining operation on a sulfur-rich moon wanted humans to supervise extraction in toxic caves. A chemical company needed humans to work in their most dangerous labs. A planetary government wanted human firefighters because humans could survive heat and smoke better than their own people. The humans on Helix 7 started organizing, became their unofficial leader, negotiating contracts and making sure everyone was treated fairly. They set standards for pay and working conditions. They created a network to share information about which companies were good employers and which ones to avoid. Ho's role evolved too. He became a consultant, teaching aliens how to work safely around dangerous materials. He designed new safety equipment based on human capabilities. He trained other humans in emergency procedures. He was no longer just a maintenance engineer. He was building something bigger. One evening he received a message from Earth. It was from his sister Rim. She had finished her engineering degree and wanted to come to space. "You made it look cool," she wrote. "Now everyone wants to work on alien stations. They are calling our generation the Void Pioneers. Pretty dramatic, right?" Ho smiled. His little sister was growing up. He sent her information about good stations to apply to and warned her about companies to avoid. He told her space was exciting but also hard work. He told her he was proud of her. Another message came from an unexpected source. It was from the nervous frog-like alien wanted to apologize for doubting Ho. I was wrong about humans, wrote. I thought you were reckless. Now I understand you are just built differently. I would like to work with you more if you are willing. I want to learn how to keep humans safe since you clearly do not keep yourselves safe. Ho laughed, had a point. Humans did tend to take risks, but that was part of what made them useful in space. They could do things others could not. He met with the next day. Together, they started designing new safety protocols specifically for human workers. They realized most galactic safety standards were useless for humans because humans could survive things that would kill others. They needed different standards, different equipment, different procedures. The problem is knowing when to stop, said. Humans think they can handle anything, but even humans have limits. We need to find those limits before someone gets hurt. That makes sense, Ho agreed. We should test different scenarios, find out exactly what humans can and cannot do. They presented their proposal to the station management. The idea was approved quickly. Helix 7 would become a research center for human capabilities. They would establish baseline standards that could be used across the galaxy. It was important work, and it could save lives. Joined the project enthusiastically. She wanted to study how human biology adapted to space environments. Did they change over time? Did they develop new resistances? Could they survive things that should kill them simply through stubbornness? Humans are the most interesting species I have ever studied, told Ho. You keep surprising us. Every time we think we understand your limits, you prove us wrong. We surprise ourselves too, Ho admitted. I never thought I would be famous for touching acid. You are not famous for touching acid, corrected him. You are famous for showing the galaxy that humans are stronger than anyone believed. You changed how people think about your entire species. That is significant. Late that night, Ho stood at the observation window in his room, looking at the stars. Earth was out there somewhere, a small blue dot in the vast darkness. He thought about his mother worrying about him, his sister dreaming of space, all the people back home watching what happened out here. They were counting on him, not just him personally, but all the humans in space. They were proving that Earth's people belonged among the stars, that they could contribute, that they were not weak or fragile or inferior. They were different, but different was valuable. His communicator buzzed. It was, emergency meeting in 10 minutes. Something big just happened. Ho grabbed his jacket and headed to the command center. When he arrived, the room was full of people, both humans and aliens. Everyone looked serious. Was at the main console pulling up star charts, was checking communication logs. His hologram was projected in the center of the room. We have received a distress call, said. His musical voice sounded grim. A cargo ship carrying dangerous chemicals has suffered catastrophic containment failure. The ship is adrift near a populated moon. If those chemicals mix, the explosion could kill millions. What do they need? Ho asked. They need someone who can survive exposure to multiple toxic compounds simultaneously, said. Someone who can work in an environment that would kill anyone else. He paused, his light pulsing slowly. They need humans. The command center was silent as explained the situation. The cargo ship was called the Stellar Fortune. It carried chemical compounds from 6 different worlds, all of them dangerous. 3 days ago, something went wrong in the cargo hold. The containers started leaking. Now the chemicals were mixing, creating new compounds that no one had ever seen before. The ship's crew sealed themselves in the bridge, said. 4 people, 2 from my species, 1 crystalline life form and 1 methane breather. They have enough life support for 3 days, maybe 4 if they ration. Why not just evacuate them? Asked. The bridge is surrounded by the chemical spill. The corridors are flooded with toxic compounds and radioactive gases. Any species we send in would die within minutes. His light pulsed sadly. We considered sacrificing the ship, destroying it remotely, but the explosion would still reach the moon below. 2 million people live there, mostly civilians, children. Ho studied the star chart. The ship was close to the moon, close enough that debris would rain down on the surface. Even if the explosion did not kill everyone, the chemical contamination would make the planet uninhabitable for decades. What about evacuation of the moon? Someone asked. It would take weeks to evacuate 2 million people, said. We have maybe 30 hours before the chemicals reach critical mass and explode on their own. The crew has been monitoring the reactions. They are accelerating. So we need to stop the reaction, Ho said. Yes, but that requires entering the cargo hold and manually venting the chemicals to space. The automatic systems are destroyed. Someone needs to go in person, look directly at Ho. Someone who can survive the environment. The room was quiet. Everyone understood what that meant. I will go, Ho said immediately. I am coming too, added. You will need help. This is not an order, said carefully. This is a volunteer mission. The danger is extreme, even for humans. We do not know if you can survive this. The environment contains multiple acids, bases, radioactive isotopes, and unknown reactive compounds. Our scientists cannot predict what will happen. Then we better hurry, Ho said, before it gets worse. Within an hour, 2 more humans volunteered. Wu was an exobiologist who had arrived at Helix 7 last week. She was small and quiet, but she had studied toxic environments on Earth and knew how to identify dangerous reactions. Min was a pilot from a nearby cargo station. He had military training and experience with emergency operations. The 4 humans met in the equipment bay. Was there with, both of them looking worried. Had designed special suits for the mission. They were thicker than normal suits, with extra shielding and independent air supplies. These suits will protect you from most of the chemicals, explained. But not all. Some compounds will eat through the material eventually. You have maybe 2 hours before the suits fail, maybe less. We will work fast, Ho promised. I want to come with you, said suddenly. To provide scientific support, I can help identify the compounds. You would die, Ho said gently. The environment is too hostile for your species. I know, said, but I do not like sending you alone. We have each other, said, putting a hand on Crystalline's shoulder. And we are humans. This is what we do. They loaded into a fast shuttle. Min took the pilot's seat, his hands steady on the controls. Wu studied star charts and technical specifications of the stellar fortune. Ho and checked their equipment. Extra sealants, emergency medical supplies, cutting tools, portable venting controls, everything they might need. The flight took 6 hours. They used the time to rest and prepare mentally. Ho thought about his family on Earth, wrote a message to her parents just in case. Wu did breathing exercises. Min was completely calm, almost relaxed. He had seen combat before. This was just another mission to him. The stellar fortune came into view. It was a massive ship designed to carry cargo across long distances, but now it looked sick. Strange colored gases vented from cracks in the hull. The metal was corroded in places. Parts of it glowed with unnatural light. That does not look good, Min said, steering them closer. They docked at the emergency airlock. The corridor beyond was dark. Emergency lights flickered weakly. When they opened the inner door, a wave of heat hit them. The air was thick with fumes. Through their helmet visors, they could see the walls dripping with condensation. Some of the condensation was eating through the metal. Remember the plan, Ho said. We reach the cargo hold, identify the main reaction sources, and vent them to space. In and out, 2 hours maximum. They moved through the ship carefully. The corridors were like something from a nightmare. Puddles of colored liquid covered the floor. Some bubbled, some steamed. Some had eaten completely through the deck, exposing lower levels. They stepped over the gaps, helping each other across. Wu stopped at one puddle. She took a reading with her handheld scanner. This is a mixture of 3 different acids and something radioactive. The pH is -5. That is impossible. That should not exist. Well, it exists now, said. Keep moving. They reached the cargo hold entrance. The door was sealed, but it was warped from heat and chemical damage. Men used cutting tools to force it open. When the door fell away, they saw the true nightmare inside. The cargo hold was huge, designed to carry hundreds of containers. Most of those containers were broken now. Their contents had spilled out, creating pools and rivers of chemicals. The liquids mixed and reacted, producing smoke and flames and strange glowing substances. Some areas of the floor had melted away completely. The hull was visible below, and it was starting to corrode. We have to vent this, Ho said. If we do not, it will eat through the hull and explode. The venting system was on the far side of the cargo hold. They would have to cross through the chemical soup to reach it. Ho took the first step. His boot touched a puddle. The suit held, but he felt heat through the material. The acid was trying to eat through. They moved slowly, testing each step. Some areas were too dangerous to cross. They had to find paths around them. Wu identified which chemicals were which, warning them about the worst ones. Min kept checking the time. Every minute mattered. Halfway across, his boot broke through a weak section of floor. She fell, catching herself on the edge. Her leg plunged into a pool of chemicals below. The suit held, but barely. They pulled her up. Her leg was smoking slightly. The chemicals were burning through. I am okay, said, though her voice was strained. Keep going. They reached the venting controls. The panel was damaged but functional. Ho started the sequence. Manual venting required opening multiple hatches in sequence, like a puzzle. If done wrong, the pressure could rupture the hull. If done right, the chemicals would be expelled safely into space. Wu, I need you to tell me which sections to vent first, Ho said. Min, watch our backs. Make sure nothing critical breaks. Wu studied her scanner, then pointed. That section, the reaction there is most unstable. Vent it now. Ho opened the first hatch. There was a sound like thunder as air rushed out. The chemicals in that section were pulled toward the opening, then expelled into space. The reaction stopped immediately. One problem solved. Next section, Wu said. They worked methodically, venting one section at a time. But the chemicals were fighting back. New reactions formed as the old ones were eliminated. The cargo hold was becoming more unstable, not less. The temperature is rising, Min warned. We are running out of time. Ho looked at the control panel. There was one big button marked Emergency Flush. It would open all the venting hatches at once, expelling everything in the cargo hold. But it was dangerous. The sudden pressure change could tear the ship apart. We have to do the emergency flush, Wu said. It is our only option. That could destroy the ship, protested. The crew is still aboard. If we do not, the ship explodes anyway, Wu said. This way they have a chance. Ho made the decision. He pressed the emergency flush button. Everything happened at once. Hatches all over the cargo hold opened. The atmosphere rushed out, pulling everything with it. Chemicals, debris, gases, all of it was expelled into space. The force was incredible. Ho held onto the control panel with both hands. Min grabbed a support beam, and Wu locked arms, bracing against the pull. The ship shook violently. Metal groaned. Somewhere below, something exploded, but the sound was muted because there was no air to carry it. The pressure equalized slowly. The rushing wind stopped. The cargo hold was empty now, just a vast dark space with stars visible through the open hatches. Did it work? Asked, breathing hard. Ho checked the sensors. The chemical readings were dropping. The reactions were stopped. The cargo hold was inert. It worked. The ship is stable. They made their way back through the ship. The corridors were cold now, with no atmosphere. Their suits kept them warm. They reached the bridge where the crew was trapped. Min cut through the door. Inside, 4 aliens looked at them with wide eyes. "You are humans," one of them said. It was a being like glowing and floating. "You actually came." "We are getting you out," Ho said. "Come on, we do not have much time." They escorted the crew back to the shuttle. All 4 aliens were weak from days of stress and limited resources, but they were alive. Once everyone was aboard, Min piloted them away from the stellar fortune. They watched the damaged ship drift in space, now safe and inert. The moon below was also safe. 2 million people would never know how close they came to disaster. The flight back to Helix 7 took 6 hours. The 4 humans sat quietly, exhausted. Their suits were damaged. The chemicals had burned through in several places. All of them had chemical burns on their skin, some worse than others. Wu's hands were blistered. Min's arms were red and swollen. Ho's legs hurt every time he moved. His entire right leg was burned from her fall. But they were alive. They had done it. When they docked at Helix 7, a crowd was waiting. Was there with medical teams. Was there with security. His hologram floated above them all. And dozens of other aliens, all of them staring at the 4 humans with awe. Rushed to Ho, her 6 arms reaching out but not quite touching, afraid she might hurt him. "You are injured, badly injured." "We will heal," Ho said, and he believed it. He had seen what humans could recover from. The medics took them to the hospital. The treatment was careful and thorough. The burns would take weeks to heal completely, but they would heal. Human resilience was real. 6 months later, Helix 7 had changed completely. It was now the center of human operations in this sector of space. 50 humans lived on the station, with more arriving every month. They had their own training programs, their own safety protocols, their own community. Ho was promoted to Chief of Hazardous Operations. He oversaw all the dangerous missions in the sector. He trained new humans in safety procedures. He worked with alien engineers to design better equipment. He became exactly what he wanted to be, someone who made a difference. The Human Extremophile Corps was now official. It was a specialized division that handled missions too dangerous for other species. They had strict standards and good pay. They protected their people and made sure humans were treated with respect. Published her book on human biology. It became required reading in alien universities across the galaxy. She dedicated it to Ho and the other humans who proved that Earth's people belonged among the stars. Stop being afraid of humans. He was still cautious, still worried about safety, but now he understood. Humans were not reckless. They were brave. There was a difference. One day, a new engineer arrived at the station. A young alien with tentacles and multiple eyes. He looked nervous as he entered the chemical division for his first day. He saw Ho standing near a container marked Extreme Hazard, making adjustments to the cooling system. "Excuse me," the young alien said. "Should you be standing so close to that? The label says Extreme Hazard." Ho looked at the container, then at the alien, then smiled. "Probably not, but I wanted to check the temperature." From across the lab made a sound that her translator interpreted as laughter. Shook his head but smiled. Just rolled her eyes, used to this by now. The young alien looked confused. "But the danger." "Welcome to Helix 7, said, walking over to guide the newcomer. "First rule of working with humans, never tell them something is too dangerous. They take it as a challenge." Ho went back to his work, adjusting the cooling system with practiced ease. His hands were steady. His confidence was earned through experience. He was no longer the new engineer who did not know what he was capable of. He was human, and in space that meant something.